Hi, I'm David, and I'm here to talk to you about cryptocurrency price analysis for Thursday, March 14th, 2019. Today I'm going to be taking a closer look at Bitcoin, not just where it's at, but trying to answer the question, is now a good time to buy? I'm going to look at it through the philosophy of both day traders and long-term investors. So, without further ado, don't forget to like and subscribe below. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's start by looking at Bitcoin here on the daily time frame. And I want to point out, here's the channel. The last couple of weeks I've talked about this sideways moving channel that we've gotten into. Before I was talking about an ascending channel, but we clearly have broken from that pattern now. So we've been kind of bouncing around between about a $200 range here. This is on Coinbase, so we're between about $3,700 and $3,900. On Bitfinex would be about $100 shifted higher, but each exchange is going to be a little different. Anyway, and in fact, for the last several days, you can see we've actually been in about a $100 range between $3,800 and $3,900. And we're right, almost dead in the middle of that range right now. A couple of bullish things I want to point out, though. There is, for one, we just are having, it's almost, you can't even almost see it, but a bullish crossover of the 50-day moving average is passing above the 100-day moving average. That's a good sign. And actually, that hasn't happened since, I think, like August. Let's see, is this it? Yep. Last time it happened was the end of August. So that's an optimistic sign. Some other things, let's look a little closer here on the 4-hour. We also have a bullish crossover on the 4-hour, but I'm even more kind of looking at this 4-hour 100 moving average that has provided a lot of support, except for this little hiccup here. Provided a lot of support lately, and we are above that now, and I think there's a good chance that'll help keep us in the upper part of this channel. And one more zoom into the 1-hour. We're just, looks like we just got above the 50-hour moving average. If we can stay above that, that'll be a good sign. It could mean we'll test at least up to the 100-hour moving average. But for now, that's definitely a bullish sign. So basically, I'm going to zoom back out to just talk about, I don't see a whole lot of room for up or downside here. I think we're going to kind of stay in this channel for at least a moment for the foreseeable, maybe the next few days. The fact that the bottom of this channel has, like at 3,700 or so, with the moving averages just below it, I really would be surprised if we broke down below out of this channel. I think we'll probably even hold on 3,800, but almost certainly above 3,700. And for upside, we'll probably test the top of the channel at about 3,900. If we break out, we could test up to 4,000. That's obviously a big psychological level. If we break out of there, there's not a whole lot stopping us up to about 4,400. You can't even really see it. Let me zoom out here. But there has been some resistance and support at that level. Even going back before the 2017 bull run, you can see. Hold on, when it loads, you can see there was a little bit of resistance and support there. So I think 4,400 is the extreme upside of like the crypto winter that we're in. I'm not sure we'll test up nearly that high, but that's the extreme case. So 3,900 probably for the upside, 3,700 for the downside at the extreme. So on to the main question. Is right now a good time to buy Bitcoin? I've switched to the 15-minute chart because first I'm going to answer that question for traders, and then we're going to talk about that question for investors. So if you're like a day trader, that's here on the 15-minute. This is more the time frame you're looking at, and the best answer I can give for a trader, and you probably, if you call yourself a day trader, you probably already know this, is that it doesn't matter what I say. You should already have a strategy, and you should be sticking to it. Meaning that it's not about specific price levels when you're trying to make your money on day trading. I mean, your bread and butter is literally all these little moves, the ups and downs. Now, right now, we're in this channel that I was talking about. We're almost like frustratingly right in the middle of at least like the upper half of this channel I was talking about. And I can't say with it, I know I laid out some bull signs to test up to the top of it, but I'm much more comfortable saying what I think the extremes of an up or down movement would be, and less comfortable telling you what the next 24 hours if it's going to go up or down. So I'm not going to. But I would point out that if you are a trader, you should have a strategy. You should know when you want to get in, what level of loss you're willing to accept, how much, when you're going to take your profits. It shouldn't be as much of a gamble. It should be you following what your strategy is laid out. And so for day traders, it's kind of always potentially a good or bad time to buy, and it's going to really depend on your strategy and what the market's doing that day. That being said, let's get to the real question here. For long-term investors, is now a good time to buy? All right, now we're taking it to the weekly time frame because now we're asking ourselves, is it a good time to buy for long-term investors? I don't really want to give you just a flat out yes or no. However, I mean, not, look at the chart. I've been talking a lot about market cycles. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I've been discussing where we're at and what we're going to need to see before the next Bitcoin bull run. And I mean, basically, if you understand a market cycle, look, I haven't been too subtle about the fact that I think we're on the bottom end of the long-term market cycle. We're near the bottom. I made a case last week that we might retest down to about 3,200, but I'm not going to make a strong prediction as to exactly when. So compared to the whole cycle, there's been worse times to buy Bitcoin. You could argue it's in terms of your kind of risk reward ratio, it's probably the best it's been since the end of 2017. But as I've laid out in other weeks, it could take a while for us to see real upside. And so you could make the argument that if it is going to, say, test the bottom again, that the best time to buy would be at that bottom. But it's hard to predict when that's going to happen. They often call it something like trying to catch a falling knife. It's just not necessarily the best strategy to try to guess the bottom. But if you look at these broad cycles and see that, well, compared to all the movement, we're on the lower end of things, it makes a lot of financial sense to be accumulating at this time. And you perhaps don't accumulate so much when it starts going bull run again and starts going exponential because your risk reward ratio won't be so great. But right now, it's probably about as good as it's. Let me put it this way. I wouldn't tell someone to wait to buy until the price hits 1,000 because it probably isn't going to hit 1,000 ever again. And if it does, something's probably gone wrong. So in a similar vein, right now with us in the like just below 4,000 in the 3,000s range, in 10 years you might look back and we might be at a time when we're never going to see prices this low again. And so from that point of view, this would be a great time to buy. But if you buy tomorrow and the price drops a few $100s, you might think that's a bad time to buy. So everything's kind of in perspective. But in a nutshell, look at the chart. Yeah, this is a pretty smart time to be accumulating crypto compared to the whole market cycle. Just don't try to predict when that next market cycle is exactly going to start. All right, that'll about do it for me once again. Although a lot of that probably sounded like investment advice, it's not. Go do your own research, make your own decisions. Until next time, don't forget that like and subscribe below. Good luck with your trades.